Unlike my past promos of the week, this one isn't going to be just a video clip or an audio clip of a guy cutting a great promo on camera, whether it's a post-fight interview or whether it's just a regular interview with Ariel Helwani or somebody else. This is going to be a little bit more based on Twitter, and it's going to be based around this UFC Nashville event. So as I was mentioning before, Artem Lobov is a guy who's got around a 500 record in MMA. The fact that he is in the UFC is probably more of a matter of who he knows than what he knows, and by what he knows, just his skill set and his accomplishments as a fighter. The fact that he's an SBG guy, the fact that he's close with Conor McGregor. I mean, if you watch the season of The Ultimate Fighter that Artem was on, you could tell that the fact that he was even in the elimination fights to begin with, it seemed as though that was because of his relationship with Conor, and that was something that Conor probably had to request for Conor to even be willing to be a coach on that season. Artem then lost his elimination fight and was still brought back anyway. You'd have to figure that Conor was a big reason for that. He did show well in the house. He got himself into the finals, lost to Ryan Hall, but ever since then, he's had some okay-looking fights, but he talks about how he's the hardest-hitting guy at featherweight now that Conor's gone, but what he says and what he does are two different things, and maybe if you say something enough times, people will believe it to be true, but if you watch the fights, Artem's not the hardest-hitting guy at featherweight, and one of the guys who hits harder than him is the guy he's going to be fighting in Cub Swanson. But the fact that he's fighting Cub Swanson to begin with is why I'm giving him promo of the week this week. Because for him to call out Cub Swanson, to get after him on Twitter, and to be able to lure him into a fight, it's something... I'm surprised that Cub Swanson would fall for it. I guess Cub's in a position where he probably doesn't see the title coming to him right away at this point. You've got guys like Holloway who've beaten him. Edgar's ahead of him. He's beaten him. So as far as the guys he'd have to leapfrog to get to the title, there are guys that he's already been in there against and hasn't fared particularly well. So maybe at this point he's just like, all right, well, it's an exciting fight. He ends up getting the main event, so that's a positive for Cub. But Artem, a guy whose big wins, I mean, with Chris Avila, like is that ready for a step up against a guy like Cub Swanson? In no way in my mind is it. But he was able to talk. He was able to get underneath Cub's skin. And in doing so, and getting after him on the mic and getting after him on Twitter, he was able to pick a fight that if he wins is going to propel him so much faster than he otherwise would have. If Artem kept his mouth shut and kept being the 12-10 fighter, or whatever his record is now that he has been in the past, a top 10 fight would not be coming for him anytime soon. And that could be over a year from now, even if he picks up 2 or 3 more wins in a row. He talked his way into a fight against a top 10 guy right now. He talked his way into a fight against a top 10 guy right now who may even be willing to fight him in his realm, which is stand-up. And if he's able to take advantage of that, if he's able to pull the upset, he's going to be so much further in his career than he otherwise would have been had he kept his mouth shut the entire time. And for that, he wins promo of the week for the week of 4/17/2017.